Welcome back to Hit the X Reloads with Dean. We are now on Reloading Series Class 3 New Brass Prep. This is a continuation of Class 2 and we are going to go over the problem of case rim thickness. This problem has been plaguing reloaders forever. I have designed something for the Primal Rights CPS primer where I can keep my primer seating depth within about 8/10 thousandths of an inch, eliminating sorting your brass afterwards by primer seating depth. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started. Well, here's another beautiful drawing I created. This is to go over when you're seating your primers and the problem that has been plaguing reloaders forever, and that is case rim thickness. How this can throw off your primer seating where you'll never get the same depth just because of the way things are designed. So let's go up to this right corner and explain what we have here. This is your case, and this is your case rim at the bottom. Okay, you see that? This here is your shell holder. Kind of looks like one, doesn't it? This here is your primer underneath. And this is your push rod that pushes the primer up into the primer pocket. Okay, this pushes it up in there. Now, the problem with this that's been plaguing reloaders forever is when you're pushing this primer up, this shell holder has got a lot of play in it. So it pushes up on the case until it catches on these hooks, okay, and it stops. So it's actually registering the depth off of the bottom of these hooks on your shell holder, all right? Which is fine. Okay? But the problem lies in this case rim thickness. Now here are some drawings. Say these are all your case rims. Okay? Now I invented a tool to measure the case rim thickness, and maybe I'll show it in this video. So these are some numbers, not exact numbers, just to show you the difference. This one's at 1,000th. This is at 1 5/10 thousandths. Okay, this is at 2,000ths. This is at 2.5 thousandths. This is at 3,000ths. This is at 3.5 thousandths, and this is at 4,000ths. Now, I have seen case rim thicknesses vary this much. It's very, very common. No matter how good the brass is, the case rim thickness is never the same. If we're registering off of the bottom of this shell holder, which is pushed up in there because the case lifts, all right, when you're putting it in there, say you're lifting it up 1,000ths, and the next one is 25 thousandths. Okay, so that primer, since this case rim is thicker, is going in. That is not good. So you would end up with a seating depth of, say, maybe this one, 4 thousandths. Down here you could be, you follow my drift here? This one, if this one was at 4 thousandths, this one could be. There's no way of controlling it, no matter what kind of primer seater device you have. I have the Primal Rights CPS priming tool, which is the best on the market. It is well designed. It is built like a brick shithouse, and it works perfect. But there's this problem. It does not solve this problem. I have solved this problem to where I can keep it within 3 to 7/10 thousandths of an inch. seating depth. 3 to 7 10,000ths of an inch, which what I have created for the CPS primer. I can't do anything with a hand primer, not that I have invented yet, but I'm just trying to make you aware, if you don't know, the problem with case rim thickness and the differences you will get in your primer seating depth. Now, to some people, this doesn't matter. They seat all their primers, then they have to go sort them afterwards. They gotta measure them. So they got 1 at 3,000ths. They got 2 at 2,000ths. They got 5 at 4,000ths. They got 6 at 3,000ths. And they sort them. And that to me is just pure waste of time and energy spent when I have found a solution where you don't have to sort them. Because if they're 3 to 7 10,000ths in that range, it does not matter. We're done. You don't have to sort them. Take them to the range, shoot them, and that will cover it. Not the best, but it's a better drawing. Okay, so here I am going to try to show you the proof in the pudding. This is the primer thickness gauge I kind of created. As you see at the bottom, it's got a flat plate with a radius cut out for these 6BR shells. Okay, so you just take it and you slide your shell in there. And there we are at 0.051. I marked these. This one's at a little bit over 0.052. So that's 1,000ths there. Is 0.0545. That's 2.5 thousandths. Okay, so this one is 0.0550. And this one, as you see, as it says, is 0.525. So that's how that works. All right, now we're going to seat primers in these cases without the system. Got to try to use the same stroke every time too, because it will make a difference. It's like with anything, with your press, whatever, get your same type of stroke all the time. I wait till it just touches. Of course, it's not going to touch if I don't put a primer in there. It touches. Then I slam it down. And don't worry, this primer can handle this slamming. Okay, that's that. Okay, now we're going to measure these ones that we just primed without using the system. You can't see this gauge, but that's all right because it's on the phone app. We'll start with the 0510. And that gives us 0.0052, 0.0052. Now this is without the system is what that means. Now the 0.0520. Gives me 0.0034. I should be saying 0. I'll try to get that down. All right, now we're going 0.0525. Or 0.0050. Now that doesn't even make sense. All right, now the 0.0535. 0.0061. Now the 0.0545. 0.0083. That's kind of scattered all over the place. We've got one at 3,000th and we've got one at 8,000ths and everywhere in between. That is not good and will show up on your target. Okay, now I'm going to decap those and then we will seed them again using the system. Okay, I guess I might as well show you this too, decapping them, because I just really love this decapper. It's made by Mighty Armory. It's on my website under the equipment. But what's unique about it is it's got this little spring in here. And we call this the flicker. I'm sure many times you have been trying to decap and you stroke your press, comes back and you can't get the shell out because the primer isn't out. Well, this thing, the flicker, I want you to listen. You hear that pop? That flicks that primer out and it goes straight down the tube into this. Of course, this is the best press in the world as far as I'm concerned. Oops, put my arm in front of it. Okay, so that's that. They're decapped. Okay, I have those decapped. Now we're gonna prime them using my little system, which consists of a plain old pin gauge, okay? And as you can see how I rounded off the top where it goes down into the shell so it doesn't make any cut marks or whatever. So you want this pin gauge to be 1/1000th smaller than your neck inner diameter after it's been sized, okay? Because sizing comes before priming. So you want this to be 1/1000th smaller than your neck ID, inner diameter. And then the second part to this is this little contraption I made here. So you take your pin and you slide it down into your shell. Okay? You put it in the primer and you bring down this bar on top of it and it holds it in place where it cannot lift up now. Okay? And then you do your normal priming operation. I wait till it makes contact and I slam it down. Next. Your arm movement can make a difference in this, just like any other press or tool you're operating. You want to get a rhythm and try to repeat the same stroke every time. So I just wait till it touches the primer and I slam it down. It does make a difference. Sometimes you'll find your readings are like, well, that's not what I expected, but it could have been your stroke. Well, that one seemed like I stroked a little harder, but in a perfect world that shouldn't matter, but we're not in that perfect world. Okay, so those are seated. Now we'll get on to measuring them. All right, now we're going to measure these ones that we just did with the system. So here's the .510. So we have a .0066, .066. Now here's the .0520. .0063. Now here we are with the 0525. .0064. Now we go to the .0535. This one kind of scares me. .0058. Now we're going to the .0545. Oops. Put it on there. It's not that hard. .0053. All right. Now we got to do some math. Get this crap out of the way. The smallest one we have in here is .0034. And the largest one we have is .0083. Now, so we've got .0083 minus .0034, and that equals a difference of 0.004 and 9/10. Okay, so that's almost 5/1000ths of an inch difference. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, now let's go to this one. Our longest one is this .006. Nice 6. And our shortest one is this point 0.0053. All right, now let's do the math on this. We've got 0.0066 minus 0.0053, and that equals 0.0013. Now, that isn't the best I've got, but these are old brass. This is not new brass. This is stuff that I use for testing and crap like that. But still, we are off just 1/10,000 shy of 5 thousandths here. So we're going to say this one's off 5 thousandths. Okay, we got a spread of 5 thousandths without using the system. Here, we'll just leave it as that number. We've got a spread of 1 in 3/10,000ths. Okay, that is so little you don't have to sort your brass. This is what I'm talking about. And this is a little higher. I usually get between 3/10,000ths and 7/10,000ths. So I'm just going to count that on the brass. But these are the numbers. This is what I showed you live. You watched it all. You saw it all. Now, would you rather go with 5 thousandths or 1/1000th of a spread? You make that decision, my friends. I think it's going to be easy for you to make that decision. Thank you. Another thing you want to know with this is I don't actually sort, well, I do when I prime my cases, I write on the side of them what their depth is, okay? So then say I have 100 rounds. I can pick out my very best and then just use the other ones as blow-offs. So that's a thought for you there also. Although they don't need sorted, I am so friggin' anal that I'll get, say if I got a competition where I'm shooting 20 rounds, I'm going to get 20 rounds that are exactly the same, obviously. Okay? But it's nice to know what we can do here with that setup. Also, here's a tidbit for you that I would like you to respect, is that primer rim thickness gauge that I designed and the seating system that I designed for the CPS is my personal property, intellectual property, okay? So please don't copy it, and if you guys want to know if there's enough interest on how I did it, I will make some drawings in some plans on how it's done, what size this, that you need, and all that. And I may offer those plans at a very, very reasonable price. So you can do this yourself if you own the CPS or if you want to be able to measure your primer thickness. Thank you very much and goodbye.